Hello, welcome back. If you want to talk to me or email me, ask any questions, okay, get on this site and let me know what you think and see if you have any questions. I might come up with some answers for you. I know I will if I can. I'll look them up if I can. rsbcopstories@gmail.com. Okay. This is kind of an interesting one. I was working a gang detail. We were plain clothes in a plain car, and we're riding around East LA, and of course, we're only looking for gang members. And we did some questioning in court of, were you looking for gang members? Well, I had to be honestly say, yeah, we were. And they used to rag me. The attorneys would rip me apart, try to, because they say, well, you're just profiling. I said, no. Let me give you an example. I'll go off on a side note here. I'm looking for gangs. I'm working gangs. I see a car go by, nice car, no modifications. Doesn't matter what kind of race they are. A couple with two kids, they go right by me. I look over, that's nice. Okay. Then I go around the corner and there's a lowered Chevy with 4 guys in it, and they all got gang clothes on and tattoos in their necks, and their car's been modified. I work gangs. Which one do you think I want to stop? Okay? And I've had to argue in court or discuss in court, try to justify why I do this. And they're telling me I'm picking people out. Well, I kind of am. I mean, that's my assignment. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I don't know if you call it profiling. I call it just looking for evildoers. And the evildoers happen to be, since I work East LA, mostly Latino. The do-batters happen to be Latino driving modified lowered cars. Gee, I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's what we did. That's on a side note. Okay, so one night we're driving around and we hear a pursuit. Okay, 4 guys in a pursuit, 4 suspects in a car. It's a little Volkswagen Bug. Okay. Volkswagen Bug. Now, these are the old Volkswagen Bugs. Not the newer ones now. They're a little more roomier. These are the little suckers. Okay. This was in the early 70s. So it's coming towards us. So I said, well, we get on the air with our radio and say, we're a gang unit. We'll back you up, because we're cops. Okay. So sure enough, the pursuit goes by us. And there's like one police car and then a sergeant, and then we get behind him. We don't have red lights and sirens, so we have to stand in the background. But that's okay. Once the guy stops and everybody takes out and runs, you're going to have enough officers to chase them down. We figured that's what's going to happen. They're going to bail out and we're going to be able to catch them. Well, it's not going to be that simple. Okay. Never is simple in police work. Okay. So they're chasing them. And the pursuit's probably typical city pursuit, maybe 35 miles an hour, 15 on the turn. I mean, we didn't have the pit maneuver then where you can knock the car off. We just had to drive them until they decided to give up or they crashed or whatever. Well, they had modified this bug. How can you modify a bug? Okay. It was lower to the ground. So every time they hit a bump, you see sparks come out because it hit the wheel wells, And so, we're right behind it, and then another black and white comes up behind us, and we back off some more because the uniforms need to be first. So, they go over some streets and whatnot, and in that era, whenever there's a pursuit, it's on a police radio. Well, the police tow, which tows DUI arrests, traffic accidents, they are licensed by the city to tow for the police. There's several of them in the city. So they have the police frequency on. So when they hear a pursuit, the hair in the back of their neck goes up because they're going to tow a car, obviously, when the cops get it stopped. So they're already rolling. They're like a mile back because they're ready to go because this is the money for them, obviously. It's a money call. So anyway, so we're going along, and it probably lasted 3 or 4 minutes, not that long. When you're doing the pursuit, seems like it lasts forever, trust me. But in reality, most pursuits are under 3 minutes, 4 minutes max, because they run out of gas, they crash. Well, that's what happened. He turned a corner, and it was railroad tracks, okay? And I've seen other accidents before, one of my other stories. The railroad track, we had a lot of railroad tracks going through our division at the time. Well, railroad tracks are stark, and they sit up about that far, with the ties, but when they go over roads, they put blacktop, and so that you can go over them kind of smoothly, okay? That's if you stay within the width of the tarred area, okay, or the blacktopped area. You go off there, you're going to hit a rail head on, or hit the rail. Well, those rails are made to hold hundreds of thousands of pounds of track. A little Volkswagen Bug is not going to even move that rail, not even an inch, if it gets hit. So they went around a corner, and I'm watching, I go, oh my gosh, you see the railroad tracks. Well, because they are modified, and they're in a pursuit, and you can see the cars, they're driving, it does this, the guy's trying to oversteer, so the car's doing this. So there's something wrong with either the driver or the car. So he makes that turn, tries to jerk it back, missed the paved part of the run-up, And so his right tires, I can see like it was yesterday, his right tire on a turn, you know what's coming, it hit the rail. And remember, these are small car with small tires, not a big truck or an SUV or something. It dug in, and the car, I'll try to show you, the car turns, hit the rail, here's the rail, it goes like this, up in the air, and it just starts flipping over the tracks, okay? And he was doing about 30 when he hit the rail, maybe a little faster than that. Well, people underrate the fact of speed. You drive 30 miles an hour, and you hit someone, you're gonna kill them, okay? 20 miles an hour in a car, you're gonna kill them. The only time you really don't kill anybody is you're doing about maybe under 10 miles an hour. You got 2,000 or 3,000 pounds of steel at 15, 20 miles an hour, it'll kill you, it'll break your legs, definitely. So it's not as if somebody has to go 80 miles an hour to do that. At 30 miles an hour, that car went up in the air and was already rolling because it's a small car, it's light, and there it goes. So we're pulling up, and of course I'm getting out of the car as I'm rolling up, I can see it go up on the first flip. And what do you see on that first flip? The first body comes out. Okay, the passenger flew out of that body. Okay, 2 more flips, driver came out. Okay, and then it landed upside down. Okay, and so of course there's cops everywhere, and so the passenger was laying there, and I got out to run up to him, and it was already an officer on him. So I turned to run towards the driver, and there was already officers on him. Well, it didn't kill him or anything; it just knocked him out. They were both looked like when they came out of that car. They might have got when they flipped over, they must have hit their heads because when they came out. If you ever watch TV, you watch some of these football games, you could tell someone's knocked out because they're stiff. You ever watch that? I think last season we had Dolphin or somebody got hit, and when he rolled over and laid down, he was like this. Well, then they're out. Usually when you roll, even when you got a minor concussion, you're hit, you kind of moving your arms and you try to get up and all that. But when you're out, you're out. You're just stiff as a board, to call that. Okay, so both of them were that way. They cuffed him up, and then by that time we ran over to the other one, more policemen coming around, and the car's upside down. And those guys in there are alive and well, and they are screaming to get out of there. Okay, so bust out the windows, drag them out, and they're not really the suspects. They're just in the car with the driver, unfortunately. So here's this bug sitting upside down on the railroad tracks, and so we're trying to get all these bodies. Then we hear this, the tow truck driver pulls up, and a lot of moving parts here. There's probably 8 or 9 cops, maybe 10. There's the tow truck driver. There's a couple of supervisors, and what do you hear in the background? Guess what's coming? A train, okay? So we're like, oh my gosh. And then we're all going like, we're having a line, sorry about my allergies. We're having a line seminar of, is the train going to come on the track we're on? Because he was covering one track and part of another. I don't know, and they're discussing this. And the tow truck driver's sitting there, and so finally somebody says, get that car out of here now. So, because the truck driver's right there. Oh, I can do it. So he backs that truck up. It would look like somebody pushed fast forward. I mean, he pulled up, jumped out, ran with a chain and a hook, runs it through the it's upside down now. Runs it through the passenger window or the driver window, reaches around, pulls it through the other side, hooks it on his truck, jumps in his truck, and just takes off. This car is bouncing upside down on the roof. And then it goes off to the side, and everybody's going, hey! We don't care, not our car. So anyway, then sure enough, we waited. Here comes this train. It wasn't on the right track, though. It was, ironically, it's in a different track. It just went by. It was a couple of locomotives, no cars. And they're waving at us, everything. It goes, oh, well, I mean, you don't know. And it was on a curve of the train also, so you don't know which track it's going to be on. And he was coming. You could see his light flashing and everything else. So the guy finally those 2 guys woke up. The owner was the passenger, and they were putting him in the police car. And of course, he's crying now because he's hurt. And then they showed him his car, and he's crying because that's his car, and his friend drove the car, and because the owner didn't have a license, so let his buddy drive it had a license. He decided to take off. We interviewed these guys later on, and it was one of those things where stop for the cops, or first of all they took off. This is fun, and after a while they said, let's stop for the cops. I'm not stopping. I got a warrant, and so everybody failed here. So everybody got booked. The 2 guys in the back had warrants. The driver of the car had obviously for eluding police and all that stuff. And the passenger, reason why he couldn't drive is he had a suspended license, and he also had a warrant for his arrest. So the whole car was full of people that needed to go to jail. I felt sorry for that car. It was a really pretty blue car, Volkswagen Bug, a little modified. Had fancy wheels and rims and stuff. But after that accident, man, and having that tow truck driver just throw that chain in there and drag it out of there, brutal. It was already brutal anyway, but just kind of add to it. Kind of like sheared off the roof, dragging it down down the road. And you know on all sides of railroad tracks, there's all kinds of gravel that hold up the rails. I don't know, they have a word for that. I'm not sure what it is, but ballast. They have ballast that holds up so those things are sharp rock, almost like granite. And it just, when you drag that car across that thing, it just pretty much took the first layer of steel off the roof. Anyway, so that's my little pursuit story. It was pretty fun. It was fun to drive it, but it was fun at the end. Well, fun for policemen, not for the suspect. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.